Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. It is so great that the new German government continues with the tradition of pushing the Energiewende and bringing so many stakeholders across the world to discuss global energy issues. Today, I would like to talk to you one single topic, which is known to be the invisible energy efficiency, and tell you a few things about our report which we published today. But before going that, let me put this global energy picture in a context. First of all, energy, ladies and gentlemen, is a good thing. Energy makes our economies grow, makes our lives much more comfortable and moderner. So therefore, we have no problems with energy. Our problems is with emissions. So therefore, when we look at the energy picture today, we see on one hand it brings a lot of economic growth, interconnectivity, and also electrification across the world, but at the same time it is responsible about 2/3 of the emissions causing climate change. Another important part, another important responsibility of the energy is, in addition to climate change, energy is responsible for air pollution in many countries, especially in emerging countries. And this is a reason for several millions of deaths in developing countries, especially as a result of air pollution. But we also know that, ladies and gentlemen, today, billions of people have no access to electricity in different parts of the world, especially in Africa and parts of Asia. And as such, United Nations has taken sustainable development goals, and within that the energy access is a major topic this year. And I will be this afternoon flying to New York to speak at the United Nations General Assembly to talk about the electricity access, which is a key issue, and the role of renewable energies there. Now, looking at the energy picture today, we see a couple of important trends. First of all, global energy demand last year increased 2 times higher than it did in the previous year. 2 times higher. Strong energy demand growth driven by very good global economic growth. We also see that last year 2 fuels flourished: renewable energies, solar and wind, but at the same time natural gas. Natural gas, ladies and gentlemen, last year had the golden year in the last 10 years, mainly as a result of growing use in Asia. And we also see that the coal use, after 2 years of a decline, coal started to increase 2017, mainly as a fuel for power sector, mainly in Asia, and big chunk of the new coal growth comes from the subcritical plants in Asia, power plants, which will be with us several decades to come and looking in our infrastructure. And the very critical technology, carbon capture, utilization, and storage, has not picked up last year. So looking at this very picture, ladies and gentlemen, and the order of magnitude of the challenge, We, as the IEA, we believe that we have no luxury to focus only one technologies but forget others. We need all the fuels, all the technologies that could help us to reach our climate goals. In terms of carbon dioxide emissions, which is the main sin of our energy world today, years and years, global CO2 emissions increased, except for 2009, when we had a financial crisis. But as I reported to your colleagues last year here, we had a very good news that the 14, 15, and 16 global emissions were flat. They did not increase for the first time. Even though the global economy increased, global emissions were flat. What a good news. What an encouraging news for all of us. Economic growth, but emissions flat. This was the good news I shared with you last year. And I said, let's see what happens 2017. And what we know is that the news of last year, unfortunately, is rather disappointing. After 3 years of a flat carbon dioxide emissions, 2017, we have seen again an increase in global CO2 emissions, which is definitely disappointing and which is definitely far from what we would like to see. Why it is happening? Many reasons, but one of them I wanted to highlight with you. It is the energy efficiency. Energy efficiency improvements last year, ladies and gentlemen, was much lower than what we have seen historically. We talk more on energy efficiency, but the energy efficiency improvements are becoming weaker. Last year, very low energy efficiency improvements, mainly as a result of lower energy prices and the governments being much more relaxed than they have been. This is definitely a shame for all of us. Energy efficiency is a cornerstone of fighting against climate change, air pollution, energy security, and economic growth. And the last year's energy efficiency improvement is only half of it what we need to have if we have a clean energy transition, as it is shown in our report. So therefore, 2017 was definitely a bad year for energy efficiency, as it was a bad year for the global CO2 emissions. What is very worrying, ladies and gentlemen, is that, as we found out in our report, when you look at the global energy consumption, what we consume today in the buildings, cars, industries, homes, 68% of the global energy consumption is not subject to any efficiency standards. No efficiency standards today. Today, for example, 2 out of 3 buildings constructed as we speak now in the world, 2 out of 3 buildings, they have no building codes. And they are being constructed now, and those buildings will be with us for several decades to come and waste a lot of energy. So therefore, the 68% no energy efficient standards and codes is an area that international energy is focusing to mobilize the governments to put the standards there. And when we look at the economics of energy efficiency, is it an expensive story? In fact, it depends on how you look at it. In order to reach our climate targets, we have to make trillions of dollars of energy efficiency investments. More efficient cars, more efficient buildings, more efficient engines in the industry, efficient buildings and so on. They require money, additional money compared to conventional facilities. But here is the point. If you put $1 additional money to make these facilities, energy consumption more efficient, you get back $3 throughout the lifetime of this car, of this building, of this light bulb, or whatever it is. So you put 1, and get back 3 in terms of saving of the oil bill, coal, gas, electricity, whatever the bill you pay. Why it does not work? Because we know the entire world, the markets. If markets smell money, it goes there. Why putting 1, getting 3 doesn't work? For the following reason. You put 1 today, and 3 you get in several years, 5 years, 6 years back. The payback period is 6, 7 years. This is the very role for the governments. The industrialists, the consumers, they are so impatient to get this 3 back. And the governments should play a role here to have a bridge between putting $1 today and getting the $3 in a few years of time to build that bridge. This will be extremely important to build the economic case for the consumers, for the users of energy. In some, energy efficiency measures make perfect economic sense. It is the issue of timing of payback periods and the role for the governments to make this bridge between the short-term investments and the longer-term payback periods. Now, in terms of our climate targets, when you look at the NDCs that the governments agree in Paris, this is the rather worrying trend we see today. And if we want to reach our climate targets, efficiency policies can be very, very important. Only efficiency policies alone can stabilize our CO2 emissions. Only efficiency, forget all other things. And these efficiency policies, ladies and gentlemen, they do not need to discover new technologies. They just need to put the right policies by the governments. This is the old story we are facing today. No new technological discoveries. They are all proven technologies, policies, and we have to do that. Of course, if we want to go further down to reach our climate goals, we need other technologies such as renewables, in some countries nuclear, in some countries CCUS and others. Every country should have its own policies depending on their realities and the sources. Many countries have renewable sources, many countries have gas resources, hydro resources, but every country has energy efficiency resources. So no country, no minister can say, I don't have resources. Every country has energy efficiency potential and resources. Now to finish, ladies and gentlemen, we believe the clean energy transition needs to rely on energy efficiency, renewables, and other clean energy technologies. This is critical for all of us. And energy efficiency policies can, on one hand, reduce the CO2 emissions, on the other hand, reduce the air pollution, but brings economic benefits and very important for energy security. An expression I want to underline here, energy security, especially in those days when the world goes through difficult times, different tensions across the world, and it is very important to save energy and to use energy much more efficiently. Now, we also think that in addition to energy efficiency, other technologies can play a critical role here. It can be renewables, it can be advanced technologies such as in some countries, carbon capture and storage, in some other countries, electric cars and others. When it comes to energy efficiency, once again, International Energy Agency is very eager to put the energy efficiency as the very first fuel, followed by the renewables, oil, gas, others. Energy efficiency is the first fuel, the others follow that. And what we are doing at the IEA is we are sharing the best practices among the countries, how to make the legislations for energy efficiency, how to monitor them, how to empower them, and how to get the results among the countries, because it's an area that we all learn from each other. As Minister Herr Altmaier, in his very inspiring speech mentioned, IEA is now ready to be the global hub for energy efficiency, and we are working with all the countries across the world to make the energy efficiency first fuel in their countries, to bring them success stories in terms of environment, economics, and energy security. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Thank you.